Hey there. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm Becky North, and I'm here with my favorite flaming gal, Lacey Burpick. How are you today, Lacey?
Hey, Becky, I'm doing great today. Feeling a lot better after a challenging week of medical related things. A rager of a yeast infection for me, wah wah, and also a my son had a little procedure done on his hand by a local dermatologist that put him through the ringer. So feeling like we're standing upright again, but we've had a bit of a doozy this week.
Mm.
How about you?
Well, I'm glad that you are on the upswing, first of all. I
Yeah.
also feel like I had a bit of a doozy week. Stomach flu kind of hit hard and heavy, and thankfully my
Mm,
kids didn't get it, which feels like a miracle. So, like,
yes. Thank
insert
goodness.
applause music. Right, like, but it took me down for a lot more days than I enjoyed, but I am
Mm,
feeling also on the upswing and one step closer to spring, so
yes.
excited
Yes.
about
It
that.
is impossibly snowy and frigid here in Indianapolis, but it is. I went out to the mailbox yesterday and I saw the first little green sprouts of my spring crocus that are always the first ones out. So they're above ground. So that means spring is imminent. It's
Okay,
imminent.
well, I like that way better than the groundhog, so I'm gonna go with that.
Well, they are the harbingers of spring, of in the plant and horticulture uh, population. They're the very first
Mm,
to come out and bloom. So, and they're purple, and they're yellow, and they're purple and white variegated, and they're amazing. So, as soon
mm.
as they pop their pretty little heads up, I will be sure to take pictures and share with all of you.
Yay! I love that.
Yay!
Okay, well, should we jump right in?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. In today's episode, we're answering a question from Jessica M. And she says, what is some of the best advice you've been given, and how has it shaped your life? And I just want to say thanks. This is such a fun question and so different than what we normally do. And so I'm looking forward to this one.
Wow. Gosh, you've got my brain's just spinning like, ooh, what can I share? I guess maybe I don't take advice very well or seriously or
Sorry.
something potentially because I'm a little bamboozled to come up with something nice to share here. But Becky, why don't you lead and I'll come up with something.
Okay. Yeah, I was giggling while I was writing my notes for this because this one came up and this is actually about relationships and with your significant person. And I used to be really involved in this church outreach program, and one time we were at this church where a couple was celebrating like their 65th wedding anniversary. I
Oh my
mean, like,
gosh.
and this sweet old lady, like, there's like a big group of teenagers, right? And she gathered all of the teenage girls around her and she leaned in and she was like probably 4'7". I
Oh
mean,
my
she
god.
was just this little sweet old lady with like her hair curled to the nine. She was wearing her little like sorry, I can see it so vividly. And she's standing there with her hand on her hip and like wagging her finger. And she's like, now, girls, I have to tell you the secret to a good marriage. Are you listening? Are you ready? And we're all like,
Uh-huh.
okay. And she's like, you tell your husband everything. Just some things you tell him while he's in the shower. And she just was like, and she just walked out of the circle. Like that was it. Here was her great big truth bomb. You tell your husband everything, just some things you tell him while he's in the shower.
Oh
And
my god. Okay, that wins. We can stop. That is like the that is hilarious. Oh my god. So I mean essentially what she's saying is you tell him the things you don't want to tell him when he
while he's
can't
in the
hear
shower.
you, right? So you
Right.
just it's all about being truthful, but selectively truthful.
Selectively. Yeah. And I just thought, Oh goodness. It was just even then, like now, I like literally have tears running down my cheeks right now. I'm like, and she was so sweet, and they had such a happy, lovely marriage. I mean, 65 years is nothing to gawk at, right?
Wow.
And just you tell your husband everything. Tell him everything. Sometimes when he's in the shower. So there's like probably maybe the best piece of advice I've ever gotten.
I I love that so much, and like I don't think none of mine are gonna be anywhere nearly as fun or poignant as that. But
Well,
I'll share one I thought about. This well, it's sort of, well, it's unrelated, but I had someone in my baby shower memory book. So like my
mm,
mother-in-law hosted this wonderful baby shower for me when I was expecting my daughter, and everybody wrote like a piece of advice in the baby
mhm,
shower memory book. And the one that stood out was sleep while the baby sleeps. And
mm,
was like, how does, okay, I mean that's logical, right? But until you have that baby and you are working on a sleep schedule and you are exhausted beyond the point of no return and you don't know which way is up, it that advice didn't set in with me until that point. I got had to get pretty far into the, maybe first 3 months of life before I was like, that's good advice. But
that
turns out
makes
that's really
sense.
good. That turns out that's really good advice. So long as your baby is sleeping somewhere safe, obviously, it's a good idea to take that time for you,
Mm,
for self care,
mhm.
not for taking care of the responsibility, washing the dishes, doing, bathing the dog, whatever else needs to happen. Don't go there and take care of you while there's an opportunity for you for self care. So, anyway, that was a
Mm.
funny piece I remembered.
Yes. No, I definitely was told that, and I probably didn't do it until it was far too late. But my oldest, man, he didn't start being a sleeper until like a couple years ago. Like
Oh,
he
wow.
has never, like, in his toddlerhood, I was like 6 hours of sleep is a really good night for us.
Wow.
It was bad. It was like I wouldn't wish that on my enemy, right? Like
Oh,
I
my
was
God.
like, oh, now he's a teenager and he doesn't want to get out of bed. But
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah, it's funny.
um,
Funny how those
right?
things
Funny how that
change.
works. But yeah, great,
Hmm.
great piece of advice.
Well, it's
I have,
funny though. I wrote down as soon as I wrote it down and I put, I didn't do this. It's like I'm advising you, Jessica, that it was a great piece of advice for me, but I didn't do it. So
but I should have.
I should have, looking
Yeah.
back. Yeah. Go
Mm.
ahead, Beck.
Yeah, I have one that was in my baby book too. So I love that you did that. This one was actually from my dad, and he said it to me a lot, but he did write it in my baby book for my firstborn, and that was that the days are long, but the years are
Oh,
short. And um my goodness, couldn't that be more true? Like,
mm.
there are some days, even some weeks, where I'm like, this has been the longest day of my entire life. If we make it through, it's gonna be a miracle. But then, like, you look back and, like, your kid's going off to college, or,
Yeah.
they're getting their driver's permit, or they're doing something big for the very first time, or even they're taking their first step or having their first haircut or whatever that is. And it all comes rushing so quickly in this, like, oh my gosh, where did the time go?
Mm-hmm.
Because the years really are short and they happen really, really fast, even if in the moment they don't feel like it. And so my dad used to tell me that, and he would always say, just find one good thing about the day. So find
I
one
love
good
that.
thing about the day because they are long but the years are short. So find one good thing about the day. So yeah.
Okay, once again, we can just be done here, Becky. That was amazing.
I've
I
got some
love,
more
I
on my
love
list,
your
and I know you
dad.
do too.
No, your dad was a brilliant soul and so kind and loving. And wow, isn't that profound advice?
Yeah.
Lifelong, valuable
Lifelong.
advice.
Yep.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. You got another one?
No, it's your turn. You can go.
My turn.
Mostly don't.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, don't go to bed mad at your spouse.
Mm.
Hmm. I also don't do this one.
Not to be like, I don't always do that.
So, but that is one that my dear Aunt Ruby, who is my who was my mother's, I believe she was like my mother's great aunt, kind of a level relative, though my mom was adopted, so there were some, it was
Things.
messy in there, okay? But there was this Aunt Ruby was around probably the first 18-20 years of my life. And
Mm.
one thing she told me was, don't ever go to bed mad at your spouse. And she bought me this little book that was about marriage devotionals, like things to do with your spouse, to make sure your marriage stays strong. And I was like, at the time, of course, I was, 23 and like, I can conquer the world. I don't need this shit. I don't even think I opened the book, but don't tell Aunt Ruby. But it one of the nuggets that she shared was, don't ever go to bed mad at your spouse. And it rings true in my ear. It rings in my ear every so often. I'm like, oh yeah, I shouldn't go to bed mad at my spouse, but sometimes I still choose to.
Mm.
Ooh,
You
that's the
know, I,
unhealed me, right?
yeah.
Showing up again. But I'm the I have awareness of it, which is a win, right?
Hmm.
That it is a choice, and also that I can make a new choice every time, right?
Yep.
Every time that situation presents itself, or we're, arguing about something or whatnot. And I mean, it's so true that life is short, right? And we're not tomorrow's not promised to us. And what good does it do to go to bed mad at your spouse?
Yeah. I will
Really?
say I noticed because I'm not perfect at this either. My husband would attest to that. I know he listens, so don't
Yeah,
actually attest to that in public. But
please.
no, actually, always tell the truth. But I sleep worse. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything about my rest if I go to bed upset with my husband is just not good. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yep.
and then it's a big domino effect, right? Because then the next day I'm crabby and that, you know,
Yep.
crap rolls downhill. So
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean,
like,
that's a great point. I mean, it's sort of like subtly energetic, right? That like even when you're choosing to just be silent and go to sleep, your your spirit is not at rest. Like
yeah,
you are not centered and
yeah,
calm and balanced.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, that's a good one.
Hmm,
Thanks, Aunt Ruby.
thanks. Thanks there, Ruby.
Okay, well, my next one's a little quirky. I have a couple quirky ones on here, so I hope you guys are okay with
Let's
that.
hear it.
But I actually recently was just talking with my dear friend Tegan, and we were talking about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I was like, I've been on this peanut butter and jelly kick, and it's weird because I've never eaten this many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in a row, and like, anyways, that's not the advice. But the advice was she told me we were talking about how to make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Hmm.
And cuz I like a lot more peanut butter than jelly. Like and
I'm with you. I like more peanut
everybody
butter.
makes their sandwiches different. My kids would eat all jelly and no peanut butter. Well,
Of course.
two out of three would. Right? But she goes, "Oh yeah, no, I make mine bread, peanut butter, jelly, peanut butter bread." So she puts like the peanut butter on both
On both
sides of
breads.
the bread. And she goes, I do
Huh.
this so my sandwich doesn't get soggy.
Mmm. Brilliant.
Right? So I made
Brilliant.
one and it was like the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've ever had in my life. Right?
Ah!
Because I like so much peanut butter on my peanut butter and jelly. And I felt like, oh, this makes so much more sense. And you didn't get like, because something I don't like about jelly is it's so, so sweet. And we get like a low sugar and all that. But like, still, it can be really, really sweet depending on what
Yeah.
kind of fruit you're using. And so it like even though I, used the normal amount of jelly I would use on a sandwich, it didn't feel as like blatantly punch you in the face sweet because what I was getting first on my taste buds was peanut butter. It
I
was so
love
smart.
that. So cool. Love her. Way to go, Tegan.
Way
Great
to go,
share.
Tegan.
Great
So,
share.
yeah,
Tegan's a part of our community. We love Tegan. Shout
we do.
out.
Shout out.
Wow. I I wish I now I'm feeling really bad about my about my advice that I wrote down because yours is so funny.
No, it's fine. You wrote down exactly what you were supposed to. So,
I'm gonna have a little
bless me
tantrum.
with it
I'm gonna have a little tantrum over here with my pinkity drinkity. Hello.
with your pinkity drinkity. I love that.
Um. Okay. Which one to share? Okay. So taking this a whole nother direction. My mom. Hey, shout out, mom. Thanks for this. She um taught me to say a prayer of protection over my vehicle every time I get in it. Every time I get in it. So I had a really, give you a long story short, but I had a really, really traumatic car accident situation when I was 16, flew out the window, nearly died, yada, yada. And ever, and at, in, during that accident, I had a guardian angel um, pendant kind of thing that was hanging from my rear view mirror. And when and after the accident, no one could find the my mom went hunting. It was a beautiful like pewter piece, and it had all the Swarovski crystals and stuff. And it was a really beautiful piece that my mom had spent quite a bit of money on. I think we actually got it at Kings Island. Funny enough that I remember that,
Mm.
but it was from one of those beautiful little trinket shops at Kings Island. Anyway, um, we put it in my car when I was a first time driver, and this was my new car, and it graced the rear view mirror of my windshield, of my, sorry, not windshield, the rear view mirror in my, it was a Volkswagen Beetle. It was a 1969, and it had a pink flame job, just so you can picture it. It was really cool,
Mm.
super sexy at the time. Anyway, so after that accident, my mom went back to the like scene to see if she could find the angel, because it was not in the wreckage after the fact, and we never found the angel.
Mm.
Like, and that's, it could be that it was just under a rock somewhere, somewhere else at the scene that my mom didn't happen to cover. But we happen to believe that that was that there was some guardian angel action happening there, because I really shouldn't have survived that accident. And so I believe to this day that there is real power in well, I guys, I'm all into the metaphysical and the woo woo stuff, but I'm 100% aligned with the idea that there is a guardian angel that is with me, and she is working overtime. And I'm so grateful for her. And so part of this prayer protection over the vehicle is like, it's like calling in the guardian angels for protection over the vehicle. And you can make it as long or as short as you want, right? But calling in that protection, and then wrapping it up with I'm so grateful for your protection, and so it is, right? And
Mm.
for me, like, I guess it's a way for me of like feeling safe, not feeling scared getting behind the wheel, because I have had some scary car things happen over my lifetime. So I think it's a way that I sort of affirm that I'm safe
Excuse me.
for myself, but also I think it's really lovely for other people to experience the sentiment of, I want you to be safe while you're with me, while you're in my
Mm-hmm.
vehicle, and I care about
Yeah.
about your safe arrival, and I care about your well-being here
Mm.
with me in this space. And I don't know about y'all, but here in Indiana, but driving skill has gone incredibly massively down the toilet in the last, I would say, what, 10 years or so, maybe less. But it's a real wild west around here. And I don't know, I just always feel safer with with a prayer protection. So that is some really good advice that I honestly, I It's become such a habit. It's so deeply ingrained in me now that I say it every time I get back in the car, even. Like if I'm going shopping or, and I get out of the car and I get back in the car and then I go to the next place and get back out of the car and in the car. Like I say it every time.
Mm,
Like every time I start the vehicle. And I guess so. This is the one piece of advice I am good at applying. But yeah, so just something to think about. But you know, don't forget that there is divine support if you
mm,
would love it. Right? That's
yes.
it's just something it's I think it's really comforting to think about that
Yes.
that that there might be someone that we could call in for support if we're
Mm,
so inclined.
yeah, I love that. I love that. And I love that you're here to talk about it today.
Yes. Me too.
Um, I think probably one of the most profound things that I have on my list. I feel like my list looks so funny. If you get like it's a little funny. But um is how you do one thing. This one is twofold, right? So how you do one thing is how you do everything. And um I think I had a lot of problems with this saying when I first heard it, right? Because I was like, but what if I'm not good at everything? Right? Like,
Mm.
and so that's where the second part kind of comes into it is being it's not about being excellent at everything. It's about showing up in excellence, right?
Ah.
And so it's about, are you proud of it, right? So
Mm.
if you did your very best and your very best was still, let's say on like a grading scale, still like a C or a D, but it was truly your very best, then you still showed up in excellence, right? Like, and now you know like what you can learn and take back and do. And so when I switched that shift of thought and into the how you do one thing is how you do everything, like I want to be proud of everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
I want my kids to be proud of everything they do, right? And so and I haven't asked this question as much recently, and this is a great reminder that I probably should, but even like when they're cleaning their rooms, I would be like, is it clean to the checklist and are you proud of it?
Yeah.
Right? So
Wow.
when I go up and look at it, are you proud of it? Honestly, are you proud of it? And um and then if it was something that, because kids are kids and sometimes they'll be like, yes, when really maybe the answer isn't yes,
Yeah.
right? But like,
Yeah.
I still do that now. Like I was working on something personal for Girl Scouts with a spreadsheet and I had that same question, like, am I proud of it? Yes, I'm proud of it. Like this is gonna work great. I'm creating a system that's gonna do good, right? Like,
Awesome.
and so just in everything that you do, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's just about showing up in a way that you're proud of, showing up in excellence. And excellence doesn't mean perfection, right? It just means doing the very best that you can and giving yourself permission to learn and grow.
Mm. Yes. Slam dunk.
Yes.
Again,
Slam
we could just be
dunk.
done. But I think this is so fun.
This is fun. Yeah.
I am having fun with this one. Okay, I have one more and then I'll let Becky take the rest away because I'm sure she has a lot more interesting things than I do to share with you today. But don't take yourself too seriously.
Mm,
I also suck at this. So yeah. Um yeah, this is great advice because I have today me has experienced life being so much more fun. And that when you are in the energy and the spirit of fun, more good things come. When
mm-hmm.
you take yourself too seriously, you shut the doors. You shut the doors to the high vibrational goodness that's out there for you. When
Yes,
you
man.
when and life's hard enough. Why would you take yourself too seriously and not have any fun?
Right?
Like I thought that
Yes.
it was some sort of the grittier, the grindier I am, the harder I work, the more seriously I take myself, the more successful I'll be.
Hmm.
Mm, yeah, that's wrong.
Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Wah
It's
wah.
I've heard you talk about this a lot really in the last year and a half about choosing fun. I thought that that was going to be on your list for sure about like
Mm-hmm.
choose joy, right? Choose happiness, choose
Yes.
fun. Like do that. Do more of the things that light your soul on fire.
Yes, and it's a choice what you align yourself to.
Mhm.
I align myself with fun, and
Yes.
my life is better and more fun. When I align myself with I'm serious and everything has got to be a certain way and it's got to be perfectionist. And do you like how my face changes when I'm for anybody watch the YouTube video because I am putting on a show over here. But it's true. Like that's I mean, pay attention to that, right? Because that is reflective of my energy. When I'm having fun, I'm open, my shoulders are back, I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm moving around. And when I talk about taking life too seriously, my shoulders come up, my hands get tight, my voice deepens, my eyebrows furrow. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Seriously,
Yeah.
it's there's
You have
real
a visceral reaction.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean there's real physical signals
Mm.
of the energy and it's so yeah, I mean you are gonna mess stuff up. You are gonna say the wrong thing. You are gonna show up to a business meeting with your fly unzipped. All the things are gonna happen. You know, crazy shit is gonna happen. And if you take yourself too seriously, you're just gonna make it worse.
Yep.
Laugh it off.
Yes.
Try to have, you know, try to, yeah, be willing to laugh at yourself. Be willing to kind of just take a punch and roll through it. I mean, and you've got to yeah, I think it also gosh it applies to parenting
Mm-hmm.
so hard too, right? When we take
Yes.
ourselves too seriously as parents, we exert too much control, we hover, we don't we miss those that the thing Becky's dad just was talking about the hours are long and the years are short. What is it?
The days
Days
are
are long.
long. Yeah.
There, thank you. Days are long, but years are short. Like if you're gonna miss the days.
Mm.
You're gonna miss the beauty in the day if all you
Yes.
can do is think seriously about one day to the next or the week or the month or the whatever. If all you can do is plan, execute, 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 make sure, you know, do all the things the right way, uh, you're missing it.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing
Yes. Yes. I have Life's Too Short to Not Sing was one of the
it.
pieces of
Ooh, I
advice I got when my aunt
love
used to
that
tell me
one.
that when I was little. And I've said before several times, I think on the podcast, like my life's like a real life Disney musical. I bust out in song very often, right? Like
Good
it
for
may
you.
not be singing for you, right? It may be dancing or it may be whatever that is, but like it goes right along with that and like find joy, right? Like one of my very favorite things to do with my kids is like literally just, oh, we're going from home to dance and to turn up the music and just sing at the top of our lungs just because we can, right? Because I'm
Oh
not going
yeah.
to get that exact moment back with them. And it brings
Yes.
them joy too. So, yes, yes, I love that you
Mm-hmm.
said that, Lacey.
Mm, thanks. I'm fresh
Okay,
out. You're gonna have to fill.
you're
You're
out.
gonna
I have a whole list, so we're going to have
come
to talk
on.
about them.
Rapid fire.
Okay.
Let's go.
Rapid fire. So the first one is, and I actually just recently heard that, but it's a question. And I think, Lacey, you have talked kind of about similar about like not controlling things in the universe, right?
Mm.
Like not making yourself the center of the universe, I think is what you
Mm-hmm.
told me one time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the question that I heard it posed as is, but is that your problem?
Yes. Yes. Don't
And
take on
I
other
was
people's
like,
problems.
oh, that's good. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be supportive of people and we can't like do that, but like we don't have to take ownership of other people's problems because
Yes.
they're not our problems, right? Um
So true. So
and
true.
honestly, we can support better if we don't take ownership,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes, and
um
most of the time, the people we're hearing these problems from don't actually want us to take it on, right? They don't. Most times, they don't.
yes.
We misunderstand the dynamic. We step
Mhm.
in and take before it's even known if we're wanted or needed
Mhm.
in
Yep.
that. taking or relieving of something. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Another one that I have, and this is one that I actually tell to my kids, but I have a funny story that goes with it, and
Yeah.
that's that I can do hard things. And I think that we've kind of seen this all over the place, but I used to remind my kids of this like all the time. We've changed it a little now to I get to do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
Not just can, but I get to, right? But um I have some my middle son is very opinionated, right? And he's so much fun, but they're all fun. They are all fun in their own right. But when he was, gosh, 2.5, 3, we were getting ready to go somewhere and he was wearing these shorts that had like, they were kind of like beach shorts. They were like cargo, but they had like a big button, like a big, almost walnut like button on them. And I'm trying to like get him to hurry in the bathroom. And I'm like, why don't you just let me button your shorts, bud? Because in my mind, I'm like, we have to get out the door, right? Like,
Yeah.
but
Come on.
he stops, steps back, looks at me, stomps his foot on the ground, hands go on his hips, and he goes, I can do hard things. Remember, mom?
Oh, little sticker.
And and I was I mean, it was funny. It still is funny, right? But like in that, and the advice I'm going to take away from that is not just that we get to or we can do hard things because we can and you can. You do hard things every day, right? But um it's that when we empower people, we need to give them the space to stand in their power.
Mm.
So I taught him independence and I taught him that he could button that really hard button and then I tried to take it from him.
Oh, girl.
Right?
Mm.
And now in the moment, I didn't see that, right? It was that we needed to get out the door and that he was 2.5 and that it's okay that he needs help with his button, which is the other thing. Like it's okay to ask for help. It doesn't make you weak, right?
Right.
Help makes
Yes.
you stronger. Say that again. Help makes you stronger.
Yes. Help makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like I did all that and then I tried to take that power away from him. And so just I think maybe this is a little bit more to the advice giver, right? And to us as parents. But like we're raising the next generation of human beings, right? And that gives me a lot of hope because I see a lot of really great and amazing things. And I see some things that bring me a little less hope, but
Mm.
not a lot less if I'm honest. But like they're gonna have to do it one day without us. Like we should give them the safe place to let them do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Amen.
so
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Uh the next one, and this one is also really tied in with mommings, but like follow your gut, right? I
Mm-hmm.
cannot tell you how many stories I have read or heard or talked to or something where people were like, I knew that something was wrong. I knew that something was wrong.
Yes.
For me in particular, one case that comes to mind is one of my sons has some muscle issues with his eyes. He got that from me. Which is hard as
Interesting.
a mama, right? Like when things are not necessarily perfect and you know genetically that came from me, right? Like
Mm.
that's hard, but his eyes started turning in. Well, I have that same issue. I was put in bifocals when I was in the first grade. He was not quite 2 yet, and I started to notice it, and nobody else could see it.
Oh.
Like, my husband couldn't see it, my mother-in-law couldn't see it, my dad couldn't see it, like, nobody else saw it, and I was like, "It's not right," like, his eye is turning, and I followed my gut, and I went to the eye doctor, which was where we lived at the time. It was so hard to find a doctor who would see your kids that little, like, an eye
Yeah.
doctor, because people don't take eye health as seriously, which
Well,
is
and there aren't like pediatric eye specialists, or at least
right.
not that I know of.
Well, yeah, not like normal
Yeah.
optometrists, right? Like that's not typically thing. But I saw some place that would take us and they put him in glasses. And 6 months later, we ended up going for surgery. And in that 6 months, because his eye got worse. And like by the time he's had 3 surgeries now, but by the time he had his first, one of his eyes, like you could only see like half of the colored part.
Oh wow.
Like it was turned so far. And that started with me being like, hey, I see something when nobody else sees it. right?
Yep.
And so follow your gut, right? Like you were innately made their parent. Like whether that was you actually birthed them or whether you adopted them or whether you're fostering them or for whatever reason, like the universe, God, Bob the Builder, shabalaba ding dong, I don't care what that is for you, right? But like they they were put into your care for a reason, and like there is nothing in the world like a mother's intuition. So
Mm-hmm. Yes.
follow your gut.
Mm-hmm. I love that one so much. Yes. I don't even know what else to say. Beck, you said it all. But I mean, I can think of countless experiences with my kids over the years where I knew something that no one else
Mhm.
knew. That I was like, I went to the doctor and I said, "This is happening," and they're like, let's not, let's not jump to conclusions. Like, let's do a test or let's do the, this or that or whatever. And then it came back that that was exactly the case.
Mhm.
So my intuition, I trust 100% all the
Yes.
time,
Yes.
every day, without fail. I mean, intuition is, it's not a, it's not a woo woo, like, it's not a, it's not just an idea.
Mhm.
It's, it's for real. I mean, I don't, I guess I go as far as saying it's science.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and it's a blessing.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
a blessing for sure.
Yeah. I've just a couple more. I know I'm going so long,
Go
and it's funny
for it.
because I
You
have
are not going so
continued.
long. I felt bad that I didn't have
No,
better
it's
advice. Go ahead.
obviously people think they need to tell me a lot. So
Maybe I'm a
maybe that,
bad listener and you're a good listener. That's
or
what it is.
maybe you have your shit together and I don't.
Girl,
You
I'm
know?
okay.
Um, this one's a little deep, but and you hear me talk a lot about showing up in love, but to just show up in love like it's your last day every day, right? So, um, if you were in a position to know today was your last day on earth, you would probably live it differently than you do every single day, right?
Sure.
So, why wouldn't we just choose to carry that joy, carry that love, carry that fun, carry that, I'm going to build memories because you probably, at least I can't speak for you or you, Lacey, or anybody listening, you, Jessica, but like I wouldn't, if I knew tomorrow was my last day on earth, I wouldn't want to make that a sad day for my kids, right? I would want to find joy. I would want those memories to be amazing. And so, like, just love like it's your last day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because we never know. I mean, I mean, legit, we never know when our last day is, right?
That's
And
right. You
that's it.
never
And
do.
that's a gift and a mystery that
Mm-hmm.
that just is. But why not? Why
Mm-hmm.
not be conscious of every single day's value? I mean, what do you got to
Yes.
lose?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Another one that really resonates with me, and this I was told when my third was born, and one of my really dear friends, I was like, my house is a mess, my this is that, my laundry's not done. And she goes, Becky, laundry is never done.
Uh
And
huh.
that is like such a silly thing, right? But just this reminder of like all of those things are gonna be there, right? Dirty dishes annoy the crap out of me, but do you know what it means? That my kids are fed,
Mm-hmm.
right? And laundry means
Yes.
that they have worn clothes, hopefully, and didn't just throw them on the floor, right? But like like the laundry's never done. Those things I know we talked about like sleep when the baby's sleeping, right? Like, and I'm not saying like put those things off because it's important to do the laundry and to do the dishes and to like just live a healthy life in your home, right? But like the the expectation of a pristine white home with no dust and no clothes and it's not lived in and any of that. I don't want that. I want my house to be messy to a sense because that means my kids are making memories.
Mm-hmm.
right? I want it to be lived in. I want it to feel comfortable. And there is always going to be laundry because the laundry is never done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay. Two more and then I'm done. Um this one is actually read the instructions.
I'm also not good at this, in case you're
I
wondering.
am 50% good at this, I think. But listen, sometimes we just make it harder because we don't read the instructions. So, like just read the instructions. Or a lot of things now have like a QR code. You can just scan it, it'll talk to you. Like it'll be a video or an audio or something like that. Like save yourself the time and the hassle and the stress and the
Mm.
17 extra pieces and just read the instructions because
Okay, for all you fathers out there that might be listening to this podcast, okay? Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
that's advice for you too.
Yes, yes. Um and then my last one that I have on here, and I said that how you do one thing was probably the most profound, but I actually lied because this one came to me when you were talking, Lacey. But I know that there are people all over the world who have different beliefs and belief systems. Um, but I think that one thing that we can say that is a pretty common belief innately is um like that we are the authors of our life. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper on that. So let's just say that you are a Christian and you have that Christian belief. And one of the things that it talks about in the Bible is that God gave us free will. God gave us the choice to choose, right? And again, like this applies in a bunch of different ways, but if I were to try to explain all of them right now, we would be here forever, right? So I'm just going to use this one thing, and please apply it as it sees fit to you. But
Right.
God gave, or universe or source or whatever that is for you, right? Like gave free will, gave you the option to choose. And when we let somebody take our power because we're scared of what's going on, or because we think maybe we don't know best, or because whatever the reason, right? Like, and I don't mean physical power. I just mean when we give somebody else the pen to write our story, they're not going to be able to do it. Because if for no other reason, it is your God-given ability to write your own story.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody on this planet gets to define you but you.
Mm.
Nobody gets to claim your worth but you. Nobody gets to say you can or you can't do something but you. And when you hear all the rest of that noise, remember that they're not the one holding the pen, because it is your God given right to write your story and stand in your power and make your impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I love that.
Yep.
Yes. So, Becky. So good. That may be the best advice I've ever received
Well,
because I'm just hearing that for the first time, and I love that.
mm, well, thank you, Jessica, for such a fun question that brought all of that
Yeah,
stuff
this
up.
was fun. I something a little different for sure.
Yes.
So, thanks everybody for joining us today, and Becky and I will see you next time.
Fun.
It's it's February, but maybe it'll be March soon, and we'll start to see some springtime, and that'll be
Yay.
fantastic. Until next time, everybody, take care.
Until next time, have a great day.